Hello friends, today we are going to continue chapter number 11, India Water Resources, lecture number 4. Friends, up to now in this chapter we have discussed about the importance of water, why this water resources is important for each and every living organism that exists on earth. Friends, the entire biosphere depends on water. We have discussed in the previous lectures that there is no other alternate for water, and it is due to that reason that to conserve water becomes very essential. Friends, we discussed that in the very first lecture that where there is water there is life. If we have to assume life anywhere, the first requirement is water. If there is water, then we can assume that there must be life over here. Friends, we discussed about the sources of water from where we get water, in which we discussed the three sources, that is rainwater, surface water and groundwater, in which rain is the very primary source of water on this earth. Friends, we discussed about the sources of irrigation. In India, irrigation is done three methods: through wells and tube wells, through canals, through ponds. These are the three methods in which irrigation is done. We discussed about the area under irrigation, that how from state by state the area under irrigation is varying each other. Like Mizoram is having very low area under irrigation, while Punjab and Haryana has maximum about 90.8% area under irrigation. Friends, we discussed about the multi-purpose projects. These are the efforts made by the government to conserve water. Multi-purpose projects. We discussed in the previous lecture about the water crisis, about the water shortage in India. Friends, this also shows that there might be an acute shortage of water in future as well. Why? We have seen the reason of it. That why there will be the acute shortage of water in future. Friends, we discussed the ways how this water conservation is made. We discussed about the watershed development in our previous lecture. Today we will discuss about another technique through which water conservation is done. Let us discuss about the rainwater harvesting. About rainwater harvesting. Let us discuss about rainwater harvesting. Here it is said, it is a technique for the conservation. It is a technique for the conservation of water. Conservation of water. It is done to increase the groundwater. This technique is mostly done to increase the groundwater, to raise the groundwater. For rainwater harvesting, here it is said, for rainwater harvesting, special methods are used to collect rainwater in wells, small dams, ponds, खेत तालाब that is known as farm ponds. खेत तालाब that are known as farm ponds, etc. Friends, here it is said these rises the groundwater level. This rises the groundwater level. This water is then used. This water is then used for domestic use and agriculture. It is then used for domestic use and agriculture. Let us learn about the main objectives of rainwater harvesting. Let us learn about the main objectives of this rainwater harvesting. It is said to increase the capacity to conserve the groundwater, and increase the underground water table. Then here it is said another objective is to reduce water pollution. Another is to improve the quality of groundwater. Then to save the land roots from waterlogging. जो पानी भर जाता है अननेसेसरी, वो पानी को रिवर के अंदर भेज दिया जाता है. दैट इज टू सेव द लैंड लॉगिंग. रास्ते पे पानी नहीं पड़ता है. टू सेव द लैंड रूट्स फ्रॉम वाटर लॉगिंग. देन रिड्यूस द सरफेस रन ऑफ वाटर. जो बरसात का पानी होता है वो वेस्ट नहीं होता है, राइट, वो रन ऑफ नहीं हो जाता है. दैट इज यूटिलाइज्ड फॉर वेरियस पर्पसेस. देन फुलफिल द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ domestic water. Fulfill the requirement of domestic water, that is domestic water requirements during summer when it is dry season, and during long dry spells. Then fulfill the increasing demand of water. Fulfilling the increasing demand of water, that is another objective. Then make arrangement to store rainwater in the underground tanks in the underground tanks. In multi-story residences, in multi-story residences, in large cities, or to make arrangement so that the water percolates in the ground, so that the water percolates in the ground. So these were the objectives of rainwater harvesting. So here friends, we have learned how this rainwater is conserved and used for our future needs. Now friends, let us understand about the remedies for water conservation. Now friends, let us learn about the remedies for water conservation. Let us learn about the remedies for water conservation. Here it is said, one should use water economically. One should use water economically for gardens, vehicles, in toilets, gardens, vehicles, in toilets, and wash basins. We should use water very economically. Public awareness should be created for using water judiciously, and managing water usage skillfully, Water should be recycled as much as possible. Water should be recycled as much as possible so that it is not wasted. Steps should be taken to conserve the reservoirs from getting polluted. Water harvesting should be increased. With all possible resources like wells, tube wells, खेत तलावड़ीज, etc. Then a watch should be kept on the usage of groundwater. A watch should be kept on the usage of groundwater by different regions. Water storage units such as tanks, should be well maintained. It should be well maintained. Then any damage in the pipeline should be immediately repaired. If there is any damage in the pipeline, it should be immediately repaired. Here it is said, cooperation of the general public should be taken. Cooperation of general public should be taken for the development and the management of water resources of a region. Then construct more reservoirs. For storing water. Then connect basin of rivers to each other to bring the groundwater at higher level. We should maximize watershed development. We have already learned what is watershed development. We should maximize that watershed development. Friends, with this we have discussed about the remedies for water conservation as well. With this we can understand why these remedies are required. Because if we are not following these remedies, there will be the shortage of water in the future as well. There will be acute shortage, because as we know that in India the rainfall is very irregular and uncertain. With that, also the problem of pollution is increasing, as the waste is already we have discussed this thing, that the industrial waste and domestic waste pollutes the rivers and the reservoirs that is storing the water, and this creates the acute shortage, due to which we discussed how the 50% villages are still not getting pure drinking water. 8% of still cities, they are lacking the pure drinking water. Friends, this shows that if we are not taking care, if we are not following these remedies for water conservation, then there will be acute shortage of water in future as well. So friends, with this, we complete this chapter as well. Hope so you have understood this chapter. Thank you friends.